Bad people's like I'm on this SteamYard shit and it's not sent into my YouTube like it's supposed to. So I had to go live on here. Anyway, this is DemonTime Podcast. This is episode 3 and we live. C-Mac just texted me. I'm waiting for him to message me back. When he messages me back, we're gonna have C-Mac live. Just waiting for him to be on here. That would be easier. I don't know what's up with the SteamYard app. That shit is fucking corny. So anyway, as I was saying, like we got a lot of situations going on in the world now, especially with the Russia incident where Russia is basically on their fucking Nazi Germany shit and they're trying to take the world over. So a lot of people are feeling bad for the Ukraine, but the Ukraine don't like other people. Like the Ukraine don't fuck with other countries. In 2010, the Ukraine was like, they don't want to join NATO. They want to stay by themselves. They want to do what they want to do, etc. So let them do what they want to do. Like, don't come ask for our fucking help now. It's that day and age where we don't give a fuck. Like, the shit's over with. Like, y'all had a chance. In 2014, they trying to join NATO. And this is what a lot of the media is trying to push. Oh, they tried to join NATO in 2014 because they were attacked by Russia. And Russia took the Ukrainian peninsula. And when Russia took the Ukrainian peninsula, now all of a sudden they didn't want to be independent no more. Now they want to join NATO. So NATO was like, nah, fuck you. Like, you're not joining us now. You're getting your ass whooped by Russia right now. So that's why they didn't want to join NATO until they got attacked. So it was basically like going to prison and joining a fucking gang for protection. Yeah, no, they refused to join in 2010. In 2014, they decided that they wanted to join, but this was after Russia already attacked them. So now they want the world to feel bad for them. Not to mention the Ukrainian president is making everybody from the age of 18 to 60 fight who's a male. So if you're 18 to 60 years old and you're in the country, you're being forced to fight. Now, you could be a tailor, a Burger King worker. It doesn't matter what you are. You're being forced to fight. That's complete bullshit. You don't make people who are not soldiers forced to fight. This is exactly the type of shit that China does to their people. And it goes against everything that freedom stands for. You're forcing people to fight who may not be fit to fight, who may have family. You might got a guy with 3 kids and a wife who don't work. And you're throwing this man into the streets to fight for your government, who he might not even believe in, and to fight. You're telling him you're fighting for your country, but you're fighting a war that you know you can't win. The Ukraine knows what's cracking, Nev. The Ukraine knows they cannot beat Russia. They know this for a fact. They know they can't beat Russia. And yet they're still trying to fucking do this fight for no reason. Just killing their civilians, destroying buildings, when the thing that they really need to do is give up. And everybody's like, oh, well, giving up's a punk move. No, sometimes you have to. Sometimes you can't win. Sometimes there's a situation where you can't win. It's like, say the police come to your house, right? And they come in to arrest you and there's 50 police outside. You're not going to say, well, nobody with any type of fucking common sense is going to say, oh, well, you should shoot it out with the police because going to jail, that's for punks. Like, no, nobody's going to say that. But that's exactly what the fuck they're doing in Russia. They're literally fighting a war that they stand no chance of winning. And they're like, and I did say Russia, even though it's the Ukraine, because that shit's Russia now. So call it what you want. I did not make a mistake there. That's Russia. So they're fighting in Russia about Russia because the Ukraine belongs to Russia now. And they're just being arrogant. The president is arrogant. He doesn't want to give up his power. He doesn't want to give up his government. And we're fighting for our country. How can you be fighting for your country when your civilians are dying, your buildings are being destroyed, and there's an enemy country occupying you right now? You stand no chance of winning. And then the news is like, oh, well, the Ukrainians are pushing. No, the fuck they're not. They've lost 2 major cities. There's 1 major city left. They'll be part of the USSR in fucking a week. In a week, that country will be conquered. And that president will be hanging in the streets for war crimes or fighting back or whatever the fuck type of bullshit he thinks he's doing. A bunch of bullshit. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the world now that's giving people false information, etc. We're looking on the brink of a world war. China, North Korea. North Korea was basically testing nuclear weapons. They were testing ballistic missiles, which fire nuclear weapons. A lot of pro-Ukraine propaganda. That's a fact. A lot of it. You know why? Because here's the problem, right? And this is a major problem right now. There's too many old people that have voices in our country. And by old people, I mean 70, 80 years old. Shut the fuck up, go retire, have a martini and sit on a beach. Shut the fuck up. We don't need you in our government. We don't need you involved in what's going on. You're in retirement age. Go retire. Why do we have 90-year-old politicians? Why do we have 80-year-old fucking senators? Why the fuck do we have a man this fucking old making laws and governing society where he's older than 95% of the people here? It doesn't make logical sense, and they're bringing over these outdated views, these views of racism. We got a lot of white supremacists, a lot of racist people that are still existing and still in positions of power in government, etc. Exactly. Old men from the Jim Crow area. Yeah, C-Mac's coming, bro. He just texted me. He had to go to court, so he's gonna call me when he gets back. Probably it's gonna be during this podcast. Probably about, I don't know, 20 minutes, 15 minutes maybe. So I know, leave, come back, stay here, don't matter. It'll still be on YouTube. So yeah. So what's happening is we got a lot of these old people that are pushing these old propaganda things that they believe in. So what's happening, they're pushing the propaganda of Russia's this big bad, this horrible communism. Communism is the worst because this is a thing that was going on years and years and years ago. So now it's like we got to, by any means necessary, we got to make Russia look bad. What about the Ukraine? What about the Ukraine? What about the racism, the open racism that exists in the Ukraine? The slave labor, the way they treat women, the way they treat, these are not good people. The Ukraine is not a country of good people. Do some research. This is a country of bad people. These are literally Russians that are just not communists. They're just as fucking bad as Russia. But we live in this outdated version of society where we're controlled by these people who think that communism is the worst thing in the universe. And they don't care about racism. They don't care about white supremacy. They don't care about any of these things. All they care about is pushing this bullshit that Russia's the bad guy or that China's the bad guy. I just seen CNN drop a news thing, and CNN said that COVID started in China, right? In the Wuhan market. We all know this, bro. We all know this started in the Wuhan market. We all know this. So why are you putting that news story out this week? They just put it out. Scientists found out it started. Why? Why? Because you want to put some type of bad view on China. You want to remind people COVID started in China. You want to remind people that so that you can bring back bad feelings towards China. And this is why CNN put it out. They're not fucking slick. See, the media does this controlling method of the masses of people because they know that a lot of people in this country are sheep. So they put that out and they try to make China look bad because these are the big bads. They put out North Korea's testing ballistic missiles. What about America testing ballistic missiles all the fucking time? America's done tons and tons of things where they're testing ballistic missiles, etc. Nobody says shit about that in the news. What about the UK doing it? What about Saudi Arabia doing it? All these other countries who've done it, nobody says shit at all. But all of a sudden, it's a big news article because, oh, North Korea is playing around with missiles again. North Korea will bomb the shit out you. Leave that man the fuck alone. That man don't give a fuck about shit. Yeah, Ukrainian soldiers were definitely putting pig fat on bullets to fight Muslim soldiers. Yeah. 100%, because they're racist. The Ukraine is one of the most racist countries in the whole world. I don't feel bad for them. I'm sorry. I don't feel bad for what's going on in the Ukraine. Google the Ukraine. It's a bad country full of bad people. And somebody just said kids are dying. Why? Why are kids dying? Why are kids dying in the Ukraine? Because their parents are arrogant cocksuckers. Get your fucking kids out. All women and children have been being taken out of the country. The borders are open to women and children. So why is your child still in a war zone? Because you're an arrogant fuck. Because you feel like you're going to fight this war and your child's going to be here during the war? Like, what excuse do you have for keeping a child in a country that's being attacked by another country? What excuse do you have? At this point, you and your kid need to go. We need to bring this DNA out of the gene pool. We don't need your DNA going to nobody else after this. Both of y'all need to die. Because I know if there was some type of war or we were being attacked by another country, the first thing that I would do would be to get my wife and children out of the war zone. That would be the first thing I would do before anything. Preservation. I would make sure that my wife was good. I would make sure that my kids were good. I would make sure that I got them out of that. That would be president above everything. Nothing else would matter. You have plenty of time to get your kids out, to get your wife out. And the country, one thing about them, they were getting the women and children out. And that's one thing that they were doing. But they're still forcing the men to fight. They're still forcing men to come in and fight. They're still forcing men to do this and do that. And that's still bullshit. And it's the world we live in where sometimes there's no good guy. Sometimes everybody's the villain. Russia's a villain. Ukraine's a villain. All these countries are villains. Just because a country practices democracy doesn't mean it's a villain. America's a villain. I mean, if you believe that injustices on a massive scale don't exist in America, then you're just drunk. I don't know what you're drunk on, but you might be on drugs too. Because there's so many injustices in America. You have police that actually murder people and don't go to jail. Matter of fact, I posted a video about that policewoman who rolled up on the side of a guy's car. Guy didn't do anything and pulls out a pistol on the guy at a traffic stop. Guy has no gun or nothing, and then shoots him. And her excuse for that was she got scared. And then she gets 2 years in prison. 2 years. Guys rape children and get less than a year. There's child molesters that get probation for raping children. There are cops who murder people and get 2 years. But yet, you're giving people 30 years in prison for crack. 40 years in prison for heroin, 50 years in prison for a firearm. Our criminal justice system is completely set up to attack minorities. And it's a situation that's been created in the urban community over years and years and years. And our urban community has been destroyed by our government. And you have all things that, I mean, it would take me 4 hours to go through Contra, redlining, housing developments, and all these other things that they created to create a situation, the destruction of the Black Panther Party, the taking down of black leadership, the just anybody who popped up who was a positive role model in the black and brown community was taken down by the government. They actually had cops that were infiltrating the Black Panther Party that wasn't committing any criminal activity because they were so afraid to see brown people with guns, legally owned guns in the streets. And these are the same people who push pro guns and push everybody should have a gun, this NRA gun right bullshit. These are the same people who push this, who actually made task force to stop brown people from legally owning guns. Because it was okay for everybody to own guns until black people had them. And then it was like, oh, shit. And a lot of it comes from all these things combined. The addiction levels of drugs in the hood that were brought in through Contra. I mean, you can go through Freeway Ricky Ross, the CIA experiments where they brought all these narcotics into the hood, where they destroyed things. And this allowed gangs to become prevalent. Because before that, gangs were just little street gangs. Nothing was really organized. Nothing was really put together. You got more packages? Oh, nothing was really put together like that. You had a lot of black leadership going on. You had the Black Panther Party. You had the White Panther Party, which was white people who were actually helpful to the Black Panther Party at the time. You had, there was a Hispanic group. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it was actually big in New York City. It was started by Puerto Ricans, and there was a Puerto Rican group, which was like also an offshoot of the Black Panther Party. And all these things existed to create some type of structure in the urban community. Kids had something to look up to that was positive. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, all these things to look up to. And what happened was the government made it their job to take those things down. And a lot of people don't know who runs the California prison system. What group of gang? The black guys in prison. What gang do they identify with? BGF, which is Black Guerrilla Family. Black Guerrilla Family took over the prison system to bring the black inmates together in the California prison system. Black Guerrilla Family was at war with the Black Panther Party. Now, the government put out a statement that the reason for this was that the Black Panther Party wasn't taking care of their members in prison, and it had nothing to do with that. It had to do that the Black Panther Party was about the positive progression of black people and brown people, and that the BGF was about selling drugs and doing crime and criminal enterprises, etc. So when the Black Panther Party started going down, Huey Newton was actually killed by a BGF member. What happened after that was the gangs had the ability to start taking over the communities. And as they say, community revolution in progress, that was never a thing for Crip. A lot of people got to understand that that started being said later on when people were trying to change the face of the gang. See, Crip started from multiple different sets. He's going should be coming soon, bro. He told me 12:30. I don't got a watch on, so he told me 12:30 his time, so 3:30 my time. So I don't know, maybe 5 minutes or so. Should be calling in. So yeah. So what happened was the gangs were able to get larger and they were able to take over larger territories. So these gangs that were split into certain things, you had the Harlem Godfathers, you had all these different gangs. You also had a lot of gangs in New York at the time too, the Tomahawks, etc. So a lot of these gangs came together and created the Bloods and created the Crips. And because there was no positive influences to join, the Black Panther parties have been broken and guys who are going to jail or under this BGF ignorant bullshit. What happened is a lot of these gangs started to take the streets over. Then you had an influx of crack cocaine, an influx of heroin that was coming back, and these things that the government was allowing to bring in. Not to mention redlining, which was them controlling certain areas and sending people to certain areas and environments so that people were in these environments where gang activity was bred at, housing developments, etc. Why do you think it's called a project? They call it the projects. Why is that? Because it's a project by the United States government. You're in there as a test subject. They're in there to see what they can do, to see what happens, etc. And they've seen what happened. They've kept the poor poor, they've kept the rich rich, and they kept the middle class in the middle fighting with the poor, not realizing that it's actually the rich that keeping the middle class and the poor down at the same time. And this is how we created the situation that's going on in our country. So no, America is not good. And nothing about the American government has ever been good. And no, socialism is not the answer. That's a bunch of fucking bullshit as well. I do believe that if a man works for his money, he should keep his money. I believe that people should pay taxes because, you know, roads and stuff like that. I don't believe that we should be spending so much on militaries, that we should be spending so much on the police department. There's no reason why the cops need a brand new car every single fucking year. There's no reason why they need a tank. The police in Los Angeles have a tank. An armored vehicle, bro. They have an armored vehicle that can go through any fucking war zone. Why? Why do you have this? They have like 50 fucking helicopters. So these things are things that we do not need to be spending our money on, our tax money, etc. The American people are overtaxed. Thank you, bro. I made this podcast just for the simple fact so that I can speak on certain topics that other platforms do not allow me to speak on. YouTube is pretty good on staying with freedom of speech. Now, I know a lot of people complain about YouTube, but the issue is not YouTube. The issue is you're lying. A lot of people come on here and they put false information, and YouTube catches that shit. And they're like, you know what? Shut up. They'll shut you right down. They're not trying to hear that shit. You coming on here pushing false bullshit, YouTube is going to catch that shit every time. They're going to shut your video down. A lot of people were saying fake COVID shit, fake political shit, fake shit about... I seen a video up, and I made a video against it on my page, and I seen a video up. What's good, bro? I seen a video up saying that Michelle Obama used to be a man. This is... not only is that racist as fuck, because the only reason you said that was racism, but it's false as shit. There's baby pictures of this woman. But the fact that they were pushing it like it was... that shit don't belong on YouTube or anywhere else. We're in the age of misinformation. A lot of people say we're in the age of technology. We're in the opposite. We're in the age of misinformation. We're in an age where people love to push false fucking information. And that is the age that we live in. And it's fucked up that society is at a point now where you actually have to skim through the news and check it with another source and go look at other things. Like I was saying earlier, how they're saying Ukraine is winning the war. How? There's live cameras in the Ukraine. 2 of them bitches went off already. There's cameras in every major city. 2 of those major cities do not have cameras anymore because they've been taken over by Russia already. There's only 1 city left, the main city. That's it. Yeah, people do a lot of shit for a bit of clout. That is true too. People will do anything to be seen. Charleston White is one of those dudes. I really don't like that cocksucker. I think he's a piece of shit. I think he's a scumbag. He made a video saying about how he used to rape, and it wasn't that he said it. It's bad enough he said it, but it's the way he said it. And the way he said it was, yeah, I used to rape. So what? Like he was proud of that shit. And then he made another video like doubling down on that shit. Like he was really proud to say that he was a fucking rapist. He was proud of that shit. And I was just like, bruh, like there's no way that this dude is popular like this. And then he's like, yeah, I used to kill and rape, but only white women. Like, 1, that's racist. 2, that's fucking corny. 3, he really thought he sounded cool saying that. And I'm really getting tired of motherfuckers from Texas. I'll tell you the truth. I want to punch half that state. I want to punch half that fucking state. I swear it's always a motherfucker from Texas. All the time. Why is it always a motherfucker from Texas? That shit is just annoying. That shit is irritating as a motherfucker. Irritating as a motherfucker. So yeah, I gotta go through information every day, cipher through it, check what's right, check what's correct, and find out what's going on, and also who's who, because a lot of these dudes is not who you believe them to be. Now, I've been making content for the last 2 years. I had millions of views. You from Texas? I feel bad for you, bro. I feel bad for you. I got millions of views on TikTok, right? Every week, millions of views a week. I have something like 800,000 people who have come to my YouTube, right? And nobody has had one bad thing to say about me. Nobody can come with a shred of paperwork with my name on it that's bad. There's not a single real Crip that come on here and say, Cal not a real Crip or none of that shit. Nobody. There's no dust on my jacket. My shit is good. I'm good in every hood. LA, California, all over California, New York. It don't matter. I'm good everywhere. Like, nobody can come and give a shredded. There's not a video of me getting beat up. There's nobody's been in jail with me that can say some sucker shit about me. None of that. Not a single person. All I get is trolls. Because I don't cap. But we live in a society where half the internet is full of fake motherfuckers. Half the internet. And we got to deal with it. We got to listen to them. You got influencers. What are you influencing? A fitness influencer. Like, I don't even know what the fuck that is. But they're here. And we got to deal with this fuck shit all the time. And it's so annoying and it's so fucking irritating to be in a society where this shit goes on. You had to do like Young Pup. What time is it, babe?
3:40.
3:40? Oh, this fool got a call in. Hold on 1 second, people. All right, just text C-Mac. So I told him to hit the link so he could come on the StreamYard. So I got StreamYard behind me. I don't know why that shit's not working for whatever else. But yeah, C-Mac is the homie, bro. Like, we don't have to worry about, there's nothing fake with C-Mac, bro. The Wet Rise Hendrix, you sent a few of his videos to me. What does he do? I mean, I'll check him out and see. Like, I watch a lot of people. I watch a lot of prison TikTokers and a lot of other prison shit, a lot of jail shit, a lot of a lot of comedy. I really like Jason Banks, and I think his comedy is hilarious. I think he's funny as shit. There's a lot of people I like on TikTok, and there's a few people that I like on YouTube. I'm not a big YouTuber, but there's a few people. You said it's lagging. I don't know why. My internet is good, bro. I got straight good internet. Yeah, so yeah, C-Mac does seem like a genuine dude. That's why I reached out to get him on the podcast. I think bro's a good dude, and some people just have a hard life. Like, you just fall into spots, you end up in jail, you end up getting shot, stabbed, shit like that, and it ends up just being a situation where you can only do so much. And it happened. Oh, yeah, nah. I just had to text C-Mac real quick. See, he was coming from court, so Cuz just got to call into the podcast. That's all. So, yeah, I was just trying to, hold on, let me, all right, that wasn't live. All right, this is what I'm going to do for this. I'm going to end part 1 of the podcast now, and I'm going to start part 2 on StreamYard. That way I can put C-Mac into part 2. So this is the end of part 1 here. Be back in about 5 minutes.